Hello, my name is Joan Krueger, and I am the Executive Director of Envisage. I'm joined today with Bobbi Jo Haden, Vice President Retirement Services for Presbyterian SeniorCare Network. On behalf of Envisage, Presbyterian SeniorCare Network, and Lutheran Senior Life, your leaders in aging services, I'd like to welcome you to our conversation on successful aging. Envisage is a unique membership community. It was designed for older adults who want to live independently in their own homes, never having to move to assisted living or skilled nursing. Our members value the relationship and advocacy with their personal wellness and care coordinator, who is also their successful aging coach and lifts the burden of care from family and friends. Many of our members value the asset protection that Envisage provides. It allows them to save their retirement nest egg for what is important to them and their families. Bobbi Jo, I know you are so passionate about our topic, successful aging. Do our lifestyle choices really make a difference?
Joan, if you walk away from anything today, absolutely, your lifestyle choices matter. And that's not just something that's coming from me. That's coming from applied research that was conducted over many, many years. So we're going to talk today about masterpiece living. And it starts back in the late 80s, early 90s, when the MacArthur Foundation commissioned a study. And the study was to look at seniors aging and why do some age more successfully than others. And what they found was, through this applied research, is that 70% of successful aging is based on those lifestyle choices. And their findings were based on 4 quadrants of wellness: the spiritual, the intellectual, the physical, and the social. And through that applied research that they found during the MacArthur Foundation study, they started to look at ways in which they can take that applied knowledge and use it successfully to help individuals out in the real world. So it was the first study of its kind because it looked at human potential and not that usual decline of aging that you often see. And through this applied research that was conducted, and Dr. Jonas Salk was on this on the MacArthur Foundation, Dr. Robert Kahn, Dr. John Rowe, they were studying these seniors over a number of years. And what they wanted to find, like, why does one 81-year-old cross-country ski and another one is confined to their wheelchair? What's the difference? And through this research, they combined and they wrote a book called Successful Aging. And then Dr. Salk and Larry Landry, who was the chief financial officer of the MacArthur Foundation at the time, shared a taxi cab ride and basically came together and said, we have all this applied knowledge, all this research of this study that was conducted. What are we going to do with it? And they applied that to tell the masterpiece living story. And then back in 2014, Dr. Roger Landry, a physician in his own right, geriatric specialist, wrote a book called Live Long, Die Short, where it took those findings through the MacArthur Foundation and applied it and brought the masterpiece living story to life that some of our members often participate in with our personal wellness and care coordinators.
This is so interesting, and I love that there's a Pittsburgh connection. Bobbi Jo, you introduced us to the 4 quadrants of wellness. What is spiritual health?
Spiritual health is one of the more challenging areas to define because a lot of people look at spiritual health as religion-based or they're faith-based. And that's not how Masterpiece Living refers to it. Masterpiece Living refers to spiritual health as purpose and meaning in your life. That fire in the belly, the reason to get up in the morning, that quest for something that's greater than yourself. Because it's a quest constantly moving forward, not necessarily a destination. Why am I here? What is my purpose? What do I have to give to others to make me feel healthy and contributing? And it's that personal quest for understanding and answers to the ultimate question about life, about meaning. It puts that zest in your life because it's a reason for you to continue to move forward. So spiritual life defined by Masterpiece Living is simply purpose and meaning in your life.
What are some helpful tips to keep us in the moment?
For someone to have purpose in their life, it doesn't need to be grandiose. It doesn't need to be something that, moves the world. It's something that gives your life purpose and meaning. It might be volunteering. It might be working for a charity. It might be doing something that brings you happiness, that brings you that solace. For example, and I'll give you a story, I have a friend who was living in a community, and his wife was really concerned about him because he wasn't getting out much. And he was becoming very removed and not engaging, and she noticed that as a threat. And she told him that he needed to get involved in a painting group, an artist group. And he's like, I'm not gonna go to that. I don't know how to paint, I've never done that. And he did that. And he went to the art group and they welcomed him with open arms. And at the age of 82, he found a passion and a purpose because he was an artist that he never even knew he was. And he has artwork all over the United States. And he discovered that at the encouragement and the acceptance of individuals in this class, and found a reason for him to continue because he started to paint and really engage with others that brought him great purpose and meaning in his life and really contributed to his spiritual health. And Joan, I'm sure that you can give some examples of how our personal wellness and care coordinators bring that purpose and meaning and that spiritual component to our members.
I can, Bobbi Jo. The last 18 months have been so difficult for all of us. Many of us have experienced increased stress, increased anxiety, and that chatter in the brain with negative thoughts just coming over and over again. Our personal wellness and care coordinators have coached our members in mindfulness and breathing techniques. In addition, the Carnegie Art Museum has a wonderful Sunday afternoon series on mindfulness and visualization using an art object from their permanent collection. Our members that have used these techniques have told us that they had a decrease in stress, a decrease in anxiety, a decrease in those negative thoughts. They gained a sense of calm, a positive experience for them. Their attention increased and they had better sleep.
And Joan, that's a great example of how our personal wellness and care coordinators make that connection that our members would not have even known about the Carnegie Museum and that mindfulness and bringing that spiritual component to life through our personal wellness and care coordinator. That's just a great example.
Let's talk about the importance of physical function and movement. You are never too old to experience the benefits of moving. I'd like to share a personal story. My mother is 93 years old, and for over 20 years, she's been diagnosed with hypertension, and it's been extremely difficult to control. About 2 months ago, she started exercising, and it was really very small to begin with. She started just walking around our first floor in a circle, and 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Now, 2 months later, she's exercising 7 days a week. Chair yoga, chair tai chi, chair resistance and strength training, and on beautiful days like today, she's out taking a walk. She's experienced some great benefits, increased energy, increased strength, but most importantly, she's been able to decrease her blood pressure medication. Now, typically, her blood pressure is 124/77. The only thing that has changed in her life is moving.
Thanks for sharing that personal story, Joan, and I'm sure that your mom learned a lot from you in your coaching. But the one important thing that you talked about was movement. Here in the United States, the new smoking is the sitting disease, a sedentary lifestyle. On average, the United States individuals spend about 11 hours sitting per day. It leads to approximately 300,000 lost lives and about $24 billion in healthcare costs. So when you think about starting in that physical journey for successful aging, it's about movement matters and starting somewhere. It could be as easy as standing up and sitting down for 10, 15 minutes a day. It could be marching in place, but it's about movement. And your mom didn't do a lot of grandiose things. She just started small, but she started somewhere. Sitting disease is the new smoking, and it's something that if we move, we can move away from that to bring us prolonged life and age successfully.
Bobbi Jo, would you share some tips with us that will help us get started moving?
Movement is a medicine for creating change in your mental status, your emotional status, and your physical status. The important part about movement and physical well-being is about movement matters. Start small, but start somewhere. So you have to ask yourself, would you be willing to move? Just by moving 30 to 45 minutes a day, you can decrease the onset of dementia, you can decrease the onset of angina, breast cancer, osteoporosis. Numerous diseases are connected to that sitting disease that we talked about. So just by starting to track what you're doing from a physical perspective can make all the difference. So I encourage you to start movement when you're watching your favorite TV show. For example, when the commercial comes on, instead of sitting there watching the commercial, stand up, sit down, stand up, march in place. If you need something to help with your balance, use a chair to hold onto the back of it. Start marching in place. And if you do that for one TV show, you're going to be moving for about 20 minutes. And that's starting somewhere. And then you can increase from there. But track your results and don't be afraid to celebrate. You don't need to join a gym. You don't need to go out and run a marathon. It's just about movement. It could be going out and planting a garden. It could be working in the yard. It could be standing up for longer periods of time during the day. That's what's important. Track your results and celebrate those milestones. 30 to 45 minutes a day make all the difference in your physical well-being.
Now let's talk about the importance of challenging our brain.
I challenge our listeners today to do something different that they have to think about. It may be taking a different route to the grocery store. It may be, instead of leaving at 7:45 in the morning, it might be leaving at 7:30 and taking a longer route that you have to think about in order to get to your destination. That's what we talk about in the Masterpiece Living in the quadrant of intellectual health. It's about doing things that are new and different. For those of you who like to do Sudoku puzzles, very, very important. And I'm sure, Joan, that you can talk about some members that are doing some different things. And you hear about that through our personal wellness and care coordinators. Can you share some of that with us today?
I can, Bobbi Jo, and I have a great story for you. At the annual visit with one of our members, the personal wellness and care coordinator was really surprised that there was a decrease in this member's cognitive screening score. Following a hospitalization, she had stopped many of her usual activities and had become much more isolated. They had a conversation and spent a lot of time over the next year identifying ways in which she could become more engaged. She started tutoring again, enjoyed the interaction that she had with the college students. She enjoyed listening to books on tape. She started taking a daily walk, and she reconnected on the phone with friends, enjoying meaningful conversations with someone on a daily basis. The next year, her score increased by 3 points. That's significant, and it shows to me the interconnectedness of the quadrants of wellness. Over the last 18 months, many of us have been isolated in our homes, and we've had really very little interaction with family, friends. We haven't seen children or grandchildren. How important are connections?
Joan, social connections are vital. It's about meaningful relationships in your life. Write down in one day who you talked to, who you had a conversation with, who stimulates your mind, who makes you laugh. Those are the individuals that you want to connect yourself with, because those are the individuals that are going to help you age successfully. We all know those Debbie Downers. right? The negative Nellies in our lives. You really have to think about what those individuals do to your well-being. That's what's important about social connection. Maintaining those relationships. I know people that through the pandemic have more valuable relationships today than they did before. And why is that? They might not have been able to see them, but they nourished them. And it's just like any type of plant, we need to nourish that soul, just like we need to nourish those relationships.
I once read a quote, "Laughter is the shortest distance between two people."
That is a great quote, Joan, and one that I use a lot in these presentations when I talk about masterpiece living, because laughter is a social connection that we have with people. Laughter also lets us live longer. So I challenge our listeners today to laugh to a better life, because that certainly is a successful aging component, is laughter. It's part of that 70% of that lifestyle choices. So for our listeners today, look in the mirror. Do you see a frown or do you see a lighter face? Over a period of one day, write down how many times you laugh. And I'm not just talking about a giggle here and there. I'm talking about a belly laugh. Something that makes you lighthearted and forgets all the bad things or all that chatter that you may have in your brain, but that real belly laugh that makes you laugh. And look at that over a period of 1 week and challenge yourself to increase that a little bit every single day. Next, take a look at what brings you joy, what brings you that laughter. It might be some old TV shows that you rekindle and go back onto Netflix or on one of the cable stations, or they show Nick at Night, they show some of the old reruns, whatever it may be. But take a look at what makes you laugh. Spend time with family and friends that bring you joy and laughter. Avoid those Debbie Downers, those ones that make your frown, not your smile, and bring those individuals to your life, and bring those into your life more frequently. That is so, so important for that connection. And I'm sure, Joan, that when you think about that successful aging journey and how our personal wellness and care coordinators, as they get to know our members and so forth, I'm sure there's times that they really make them laugh and they share that laughter, because that is bringing joy and peace of mind to their lives so frequently.
Envisage just might be the right option for your long-term plan. Our team would love to meet with you. We have new plan options available that we can customize to meet your individual needs. I invite you to call us at 412-826-6110 or visit us on the web at www.envisage.org. That .org is so important. We're a nonprofit with a goal of caring for and serving older adults and making aging easier. On behalf of Envisage, Presbyterian SeniorCare Network, and Lutheran Senior Life, Bobbi Jo and I would like to thank you for joining our conversation today. We hope that you have been enlightened and that you have gained some practical tips that you will incorporate into your life. As we've been talking today, I thought of one of my favorite Abraham Lincoln quotes. And in the end, it's not the years in your life that matter. It's the life in your years. May your life be filled with a sense of purpose, with movement, with brain stimulation, with connections, and laughter. Best wishes for successful aging.